friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a pick a card, which will be a message from your higher self, all about self-love. So times have been kind of tough lately. I know I've personally been dealing with bouts of anxiety and depression, so I figured that this is just the perfect time for something like this to come up. And of course you can come back to it as many times as you need to hear a little pick-me-up. So we have our group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. Timestamps will be down below, and if you need to learn how to pick a card, I actually have a video which I will link above and below for you to check out beforehand. But timestamps, like I said, are below, so I will see you at your time. Hello group 1, let's get started with your message of self-love. So we have Divine Passion as your oracle card. Be honest with yourself. What is your true heart's desire? So this is very radiant energy. I can just feel it. Obviously, like these little embers that are flying off kind of show the intensity of this energy. But, you know, this is you. This is your overall energy. This is something that, you know, your higher self wants you to recognize within yourself, is that all these passions, this higher expression that I feel like you have, you know, it may be more intense than other people. It may be just... I just feel like you're a lot, and you might feel like you're too much sometimes or not enough sometimes. There's like a big intensity here. So I just want you to know, or your higher self wants you to know, that this is part of your purpose. This is part of, you know, your journey that you're going through, is to experience these depths and to experience these intensities. So don't be so hard on yourself. Sometimes, honestly, I feel like you may, you know, bend over backwards to try to make yourself feel like you're enough, but that's not the case for you. Like, you don't need to do that. You are truly fine as you are. Like, you're really kind of cutting yourself not enough slack there. So let's look a little bit more into it with your astro cards. We have Leo. Ooh, let me get you in the light here. Trying to be all natural with the lighting. And then we have first house. So Leo in first house, I would give this back to the divine passion energy. You know, this is very big energy. This is, you're supposed to make an impact. You're supposed to be too much, quote unquote, because honestly, I don't think that too much, you know, I mean, that's subjective to a person, I think, is what I'm trying to get out here. Is like, you know, you may feel like you have too much energy, too much passion, too much eccentric energy, I feel like. And the more that you can establish kind of this self-love for yourself, I mean, that's where, you know, things come in for you. That's where you start feeling a little bit more in alignment. Even though I see you already pretty much being in alignment by learning these lessons, by, you know, going through those depths of feeling unworthy and feeling like, you know, you're too much. Like, either side of the spectrum is showing you that, like, you know, you're not really that much of that whole side. You're both sides. You're every side. You're integrated. And all of those passions and intensities, you know, they're fueled with a purpose, basically. And you need to understand that the more that you love yourself and accept these intensities, the more that you're going to be able to kind of see it throughout your life and see situations and circumstances work for you in your favor with those emotions, if that makes sense. So let's look a little bit more into this. So we have Queen of Wands in reverse, the Lovers in reverse, 10 of Wands in reverse, as well as 3 of Wands upright. Okay, yeah, this is really continuing on the message here. We have the Queen of Wands in reverse, which I feel like this is you, your energy, whether you're male or female. This is, you know, I'll just show you her upright. She's a very queen energy. She's honestly my favorite queen because she has a very thorough stance. Like, she knows her stuff. She knows what it takes to get there, because, I mean, this is, you know, before the journey of getting into the courts. You have this 10 of Wands here, and this is, I mean, obviously this is a lot. This is what I was saying about feeling like you're too much. But with this being upside down, you know, you're not too much, actually. You are probably releasing those circumstances that made you feel like you were too much, or made your expression feel like it was too much. But this Queen of Wands energy, with this being in reverse, you know, like, this is an exuberant energy. So with it being in reverse, you know, I feel like you're holding yourself back from expressing, you know, this divine passion. You're holding yourself back from being your true self, and from, you know, wearing your heart on your sleeve like you're supposed to and like you naturally want to. You know, it's making you kind of feel a little robotic, I feel like, because, you know, the Lovers here, this is like connection, not even just with other people. You know, lovers, we think like, you know, two entities, but honestly, this is the polarity of yourself. This is the duality of yourself, your consciousness, the two sides, like I said, the two extremes of not enough to being too much. You know, this is a merging of that. If you can allow yourself to see how much you really are. Like, you're not too much, you are so much. And that's a beautiful thing. It's not something to be ashamed of. You are abundant, you are wholesome, you are worthy. Oops. But with this being in reverse, like all three of these being in reverse, your message of self-love ultimately comes back to the fact that you need to cut yourself slack. That's the biggest thing I'm getting here. You need to cut yourself some slack and allow yourself to see that you are abundant. You are wholesome. You are loving. You are caring about not only yourself, but of other people. And sometimes that hits you to a fault, I feel like. You almost care too much about other people. And, you know, that you don't acknowledge how worthy you are without those other people that you feel like you can help. And you don't need to feel like that. You really, really don't, because you have this spark. And like, I'm getting kind of giddy right now because I can feel it. I can feel your like, just your happiness and the way that you kind of can move through life without a care in the world, but at the same time you care so much. And that duality is not, it's not insanity. It's not crazy. You're not whatever everybody else has tried to tell you. No, like once you define that within yourself, which is what I kind of feel like this Three of Wands energy is. Once you redefine who you are, you know, at your soul level, at your spirit, I mean, this house is, or this reading, I should say, is completely full of self energy and fire energy. So you have this wild side, a wild spirit that when you are the one to like articulate it and you're the one to like express it to people instead of other people like telling you who you are and who you're expressing, and you know, yada yada yada, like define yourself, define your own details, and you know, mark your own path, go your own way. You don't need other people to explain to you who you are. I mean, ironically, as I'm telling you this, but I really find that you know deep within, like this resonates for you because you know that something was wrong when people were judging you for these and you were accepting it. There is a reason that you felt bad. And it's not just because the things that were said hurt your feelings. It's because they weren't for you. They weren't meant for you. And the more that you hold on to that, the more you're inhibiting yourself from expressing this divine passion, which is ultimately your purpose. And you know better. I feel like I said, you have a heart of gold, my dear. Like you really, really, truly do. Look how much yellow is in this card. Yellow and red. And like I said, this is very fire energy. So your spirit is meant to light other people up. If it's too much for them, they're in the darkness and they need to probably find their own light. That's their own thing. That's not your problem. So let them be them, but let you be you, and don't inhibit yourself any longer because you have this queen energy, if I've ever seen it. And you know best how to make that not only come out of yourself, but out of other people. So when you don't let other people kind of stop you, I feel like you can do great things, and you know, you can make the wave that you would want to make. So I hope this resonated for you guys, group 1. If you want more readings, I offer them on my Patreon account, which is always linked down below. Tiers start at $5 a month. So if you're interested, like I said, check that out, link down below. But otherwise, I will see you guys in a later video. Bye for now. Hello, group 2, and we can get started with your reading with your Oracle card for the overall energy. Don't back down. Ooh, I love this. Stand up for what you believe is right. Okay, you guys are clearly fighters here, but there is some grace. There is some elegance. I feel like you are really standing in some sort of truth that is larger than yourself. And because of that, you're like able to move somewhat like divinely, I feel like, through your life and, you know, throughout your purpose. Even if you feel like you're not on track. That's the funny thing that I feel like has been coming up for these readings lately, is that you're always in alignment with your purpose because you have to pick up the pieces to get there. So I feel like right here with this don't back down energy, you have learned that, you know, the interesting little qualities that you pick up along the way have actually shown you more and more evidence about why you shouldn't back down, and basically why you should believe what you believe in. And that, ooh, hello, that was like confirmation over here, this little bell. But I just feel like, yeah, I mean, you guys really know what you know, and you need to pursue telling other people that. And I think you know that. I think that's kind of like the intimidation here that also comes off with this energy. But the intimidation plus the grace and the elegance, that is the ultimate combo. And I feel like that is kind of your specialty. So this is good, guys. I feel like you guys really have been undermining this beautiful quality that you have. Maybe you're kind of sensitive, but you know, there's a fire within you that pushes you towards the right things, to pursue things that are, you know, kind to your soul. So let's look into this a little bit more. We have the Sun as well as Libra. Okay. So I feel like there's some energy here with really like being able to kind of see the future in a way, like being able to see other people's, you know, outcomes without really like knowing the outcome for sure. You know, there's a psychic quality here that I feel like you guys have, and that's why you know what you know. Like there's I think it's clairsentience or claircognizance, one of the two. But basically it's like clear knowing. It's knowing without knowing. It's like a psychic knowing. And I feel like you guys have that quality. And that's why you stand up for things. You know, Libra energy is very, very diplomatic. It is, you know, it's Venetian. It doesn't necessarily want to fight, but it will. It will hold up its ideals, its beliefs, and fight for justice overall. Like that is Libra's energy times 10. So I feel like, you know, sometimes you may feel like you don't really know why you're fighting, and things just get, you know, a little intense, a little heated. You may feel like you're fighting against yourself at times. You know, there's a lot of to do with fighting here, but I feel like at times, you know, if you bring it back to yourself, if you bring it back to your purpose and back to like the why you're doing what you're doing, you can remind yourself that you know what you're doing. You know that you're pursuing and helping a greater cause. So that's why you shouldn't stop. That's why you should not back down. That's why you keep being the person that you are, because we need people like you. We need people to fight with grace and elegance, and with, you know, this very fair, balanced mindset too. Like you have a very keen and unbiased, a lot of the time, mindset. I mean, you have a self-interest in mind, don't get me wrong, but you definitely know how to make a group happy. And I think that, you know, that quality, it doesn't probably come off as a great leadership quality because you're rather empathetic. You might be a little passive at times, but no, like that's the leadership qualities we need. We don't need these toxic masculine energies, you know, not saying that a woman can't have that or a man can't have it. No, like masculine energy is in both sides. And, you know, the Sun can be quite masculine, but when it's paired with Libra, it gets a little humble. It gets a wake-up call, you know, that other people matter, that other, you know, feelings matter, that connection matters. And I think that that has been something that you've really been working towards and fighting for, and you may have been feeling really tired about it. Honestly, this might have something to do with the protests and whatnot going on. I just want you to know, like, keep fighting, keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, your cause is greater than you, even if it seems personal. So let's look into this a little more. Page of Pentacles in reverse. The World. Wow, what did I say? A greater cause. All right, Six of Pentacles in reverse. Yes, and Judgment. Oh my goodness, I love this. So you have two major arcana cards here. Let's just point that out right away. So the World being upright, you know, like I said, like you have universal wisdom, universal knowledge that comes through for you, that stabilizes you and pushes you to make not only changes for yourself, but for the world around you. Like you're an extremely, extremely giving person, but you know, at times you may feel scared about that. I feel like you may be like worried about, you know, either being too judging to others, or maybe like feeling like they will judge you. Like, I mean, judgment here is a lot higher of an energy, I'd say. Like it has a lot more to do with like universal energy, but you know, on a personal level or even just like collectively, I feel like you know, you may feel like there is a call to action that you have to follow through with, that you're not exactly sure if it's going to reap you any rewards, you know, whether it's like materially, physically, or spiritually, whatever it is, you know, emotionally. I feel like you feel this call and you're not exactly sure about it, but like I said, don't back down. Don't step away from this higher cause that you're being called to pursue. There's something there. Now, with the Page of Pentacles in reverse here, and then also the Six of Pentacles, I think this is quite interesting. This is good energy coming back to you. This is, you know, seeing the injustice, seeing the imbalance, seeing things that, you know, may have been off-put and may have just brought your attention to situations that needed to be altered in the real world. And it brought you to the idea of like how you can nurture that, how you can change, you know, the present moment, the present situation by connection. Like I said, Libra really knows how to connect. And you know, with this Six of Pentacles here, this is a card of give and take, of balance. As you see here with the scales here, scales are actually Libra's, I don't know what you call that, like little archetype picture thing. Can't come to, the word isn't coming to mind right now, but you get what I'm saying? Like, this is a very giving, loving energy, but it knows balance. It knows justice and it knows fairness. So I feel like with these two in reverse, you know, there is a greater cause that when you pursue sharing this idea, like sharing this connection of, you know, this injustice, this imbalance that we are experiencing in our world, whether it's, you know, in your personal world, or like I said, collectively with all the stuff we have going on, there's this big sense that you have the answer. Because, I mean, as you see here, the only card that is upright is the World. And this card is just a universal energy to me. It's like universal knowledge and universal wisdom that is ultimately going to serve not just you, but everybody. Because next we have Judgment here in reverse. I just feel like there's a cleanse that happens through this like call to action that you have. You know, these people are in the nude, so I just feel like there is like a purity that comes through all of this, you know, and the angel being the one to make the call, being with the World here as well, you know, that goes to show that it's bigger than you. And the more that you keep that in mind, and you keep, you know, not only the fact that you are very able to connect with other people and the world around you and really see things for what they are, not what, you know, what everybody else sees them to be. Like this, you know, you see them for what they are, and you may take into account, you know, the undertones, the underlying energy of situations instead of just taking them for face value. I think that you need to work on expressing that side of you, because the Sun, you know, you're letting that be what, you know, makes you different from other people. You're allowing that to be what makes you shine. And I just noticed here with this eggshell cracking, you know, that's what I was talking about. You are somebody that you're gonna have this call to action to kind of share this knowledge, share this imbalance, injustice with other people, see your side of the story, and that will like crack open their shell for there to be more justice, for there to be more of a clarity and a cleanse. And not only for you and them to enjoy, but for the entire world. Like I've come back to many times in this reading, this is greater than you. And this Libra energy can be so selfless at times that I feel like it's important for you to remember that yes, you are working for a greater purpose, a greater cause, but it ultimately does help you. It does come back to you, and you ultimately are the catalyst for these moments. So you are just as well needed as an individual as you are in a connection or other relationships. So I hope this message resonated and helped you guys. If it did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I also have a Patreon account where I do these readings starting for as low as $5 a month, so check that out if you are interested. Otherwise, I will see you guys in a later video. Bye for now. Hello, group 3. We can get started with your self-love message from your higher self. So we have your overall energy being past life. So I am just getting the message right away that you need to chill out on criticizing what's happening in your life right now, to be blunt about it. I feel like you are experiencing a lot of like karmic situations, maybe things that just don't, I don't know, they just don't sit right with you. They're like kind of out of the blue inconveniences that you're like, I really feel like I'm not doing that bad of a job, you know, living my life. Or maybe you have claimed it, honestly, but I want to remind you that you are an infinite being. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And when you see it from that perspective, you can give yourself a break. You can cut yourself some slack, because the things that you experience are not as personal as they feel. While we get invested in them and, you know, we can make them personal, it's ultimately for you to learn a lesson that you can learn, you know, the hard way or the easy way. But either way, you're learning the lesson, so it really doesn't matter ultimately in the end. Beautiful card, beautiful energy, and I feel like you guys need to cut yourself some slack. You know, this card is extremely, extremely peaceful, so I feel like that is a state that you're kind of aiming towards, and I want to let you know, like, you are aiming towards it because that's where you're going to be at some point, and it's going to bring you to a good state to, like, manifest things and be able to, I don't know, just really, you know, experience freedom in this lifetime. That's why you're experiencing so much just hardship, I feel like. I actually really relate to this message, to be honest. So let's see what we have going on a little bit more. We have Cancer. And we have Virgo. Oh my gosh, yes. You guys are totally doing some heavy, heavy work here. So both of these energies are extremely loving and nurturing, but they have a colder side to them, a colder complex, because they've been through a lot. They've been through some harder things that make them have to, you know, judge themselves a little bit, you know, keep a guard up, because Cancer being a motherly energy, you know, a mom can't be this emotional, chaotic energy all the time, because their child needs structure, they need balance, they need, you know, a routine and stuff like that, like a Virgo energy. And I feel like the combination of these two may at times make you a bit rigid, may make you a bit, you know, hard to really experience true joy and true, like, happiness and true depth, because there is a part of you that just feels like you have to be a little bit more reserved and held back and, like, responsible here, because, you know, you've had probably a lot of situations tell you that maybe you're doing something wrong, but I just don't feel like that's the case for you guys. I really don't. I think that you have a higher purpose, you know, that's the gist of it, but I think overall, like, you need to see that this love that you're providing for other people, you're worthy of it yourself. And, you know, the slack that you cut other people and the forgiveness you give other people, you can do that for yourself. Ultimately, that is what I think this lesson is kind of boiling down to. Because Cancer and Virgo, while they are about other people, those energies have to be balanced out by the self, and by taking care of the self with nourishment and compassion and self-love. So, you know, both of these are really coming up to say you can love yourself within your structures and within your nurturing aspects of other people, but don't lose sight of yourself. Don't lose sight of the fact that experiencing things for greater evolution. So it's not always going to be, you know, about the external things, about everything else. These are just meant to change our vision of depth in our emotions and in the ways that we are able to communicate those emotions, and also the ways that we're able to reflect on ourselves, and the ways that we're able to, you know, transmute those negative energies and those intense emotions and change them into something that is productive and helpful. But if you're holding yourself too accountable, you know, I mean, there's accountability, and then there's like, okay, you're being so critical and rude to yourself at this point, like, let it go. So I think that is kind of what you're learning right now with all of this stuff that you're going through. But let me look more into this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is such a Virgo energy on top of it coming up for your reading. Like, this is anxiety. This is like worrying and like needing to release. So let's see. I got ahead of myself. Page of Cups in reverse. Justice in reverse. Oh yeah. And Five of Wands in reverse. Oh yeah. You guys have been through some chaos right here. I mean, both of these cards are not the most appealing energies when you look at them. I mean, you can see the chaos, you can see the displeased energies that just, you know, from everybody in this card, but also the distress in this card. So with this one being in reverse, I feel like you are maybe rehashing a situation unconsciously or, you know, subconsciously or whatever, that it's probably not happening anymore. I feel like you may have your guard up and you may be a little rigid towards this situation because you've had to be in the past. I feel like, this is kind of tipping the scales for you a bit, where you've worked so hard to defend yourself and to be the best and to, really, really, really hold yourself accountable, that when, it's time for you to release that, you don't know how. You don't know how to give yourself, a fresh start, a new break, and cut yourself some slack. Because with the Page of Cups here in reverse, Page of Cups is like, oh my God, I have a fish in a cup. Like, I have good vibes. I'm surprised by my emotions. I'm surprised by this new beginning that I'm going through. Like, this is good, happy energy. So with it being in reverse, it's like you're not allowing yourself to do that. You're not allowing yourself to, experience this love that you can have for yourself, because you're releasing, some things that made you feel like you had to think otherwise and you had to believe in yourself otherwise, But I feel like overall, this is part of the lessons. It's a part of the journey. And the more that you remind yourself of that, I mean, I know that sounds like something you probably already know, but I think the more that you remind yourself of that, the more leniency you'll have on yourself. Like, it's like neuroplasticity is what comes to mind. You're going to be like, hey, this is just part of the process, and you say that to yourself like a mantra over and over again, and ultimately that makes you have a new mindset. It makes your mind believe it, and that's like your baseline now, because neuroplasticity, your brain starts making new pathways with new thoughts. So it's really helpful for you to, I think, do that for yourself. That's also very like nurturing energy, Virgo energy as well. So with the Justice here in reverse, this is our major arcana cards. So like I said, I mean, this is a lot of like karma and stuff coming back to you, but it's not as personal. Your soul is so old. I mean, can't even put a number on it. Your soul has been through a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of scales to be balanced. It's not as individual as, even just this lifetime. There's so much to be balanced out that, I think you just play a bigger role in it. You play a huge role. So when you go through things, like you take accountability for it, but that taking accountability cleanses it. It purifies and transmute that energy. So, you can take accountability though, like I said, with a little bit more leniency, because I feel like you're not in those situations anymore. I feel like you have outgrown the environments, or, maybe you're working to outgrow those environments that have, made you have to have that guard up and made you feel like, you are the worst person in the world. I feel like you really are coming from a place that is a little rigid towards yourself. And I feel like you just really need to appreciate how wise you are, how strong it is to be able to take that accountability, and, let that be your compliment. Let the things that you seem to be struggling with, let that be what makes you, happy, and like lets you see that you have opportunities to grow. There's a double side to every coin, and I think Justice here in reverse kind of symbolized the need for standing up for yourself and standing up within your mind, because the sword suit here, this is all in your mind. This is all mental stuff. So the sword here being raised with the scales right here, that's like balancing your mindset. So with Justice being 11 for the deck, I just feel like this is a time for you to discern. You have, 11 is a psychic number. It's the number of being intuitive, being like a pillar and a guide for other people, being a light worker for other people. But on top of that, you have this responsible, like accounted for type personality, but you can't let that be everything. There needs to be balance. You have to stand up for yourself, like I said. So I just want to remind you guys lastly here that, you have grace, you have wisdom, you have love, you have nourishment, you have tender, loving care, all for yourself all the time. It is always available to you as long as you choose to pursue it. So make sure that you are taking time for yourself. Make sure that you are sleeping a lot more if you need to. Like, I feel like you guys may have been up a lot with anxiety from this card right here. So just really, really, really be nice to yourself. Really work on that mindset. Really work on trying to see all of the goodness that you bring to the table, because you bring more goodness than you bring anything else. I guarantee it. So I hope this message resonated for you guys. If it did, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. More readings from me. I have a Patreon account starting as low as $5 a month. Check that out. Link in description. Otherwise, I will see you guys in a later video. Bye for now. Hello, group 4. Let's get started with your reading. So we have your overall energy as expect a miracle. So I feel like you guys may have been going through quite a cleanse or maybe a purge of some energy lately. You've been experiencing a lot of just breakups, maybe not necessarily a breakup specifically, but just a lot of, I think, detachment from, your expectations, your thoughts, things that may have been restricting you and limiting you in the past. So that's why your overall energy is expect a miracle, because truly you're due for it. You've done a lot of releasing, a lot of inner work. I feel like that really aligns you for some blessings and for some higher, just higher support in love, as you see from all these angels right here. So let's look into this a bit more for group 4. We have Mars and Pisces. Ooh, Mars currently is in Pisces and actually is about to leave. I just feel like you guys have been experiencing a lot of change that maybe not have been what you were trying to go for. I feel like you might have just been guided into this change, but ultimately, you stepped up, you've done the actions, and you have really fought to kind of create your own sense of self and your own sense of just worthiness, beingness, I feel like, because this energy of Pisces here, there's this boundless spiritual energy that really allows a lot of ambiguity, I feel like, in your life. And that, it's fine. It helps in certain areas, but sometimes it's really not that helpful, and it doesn't help you get directly to where you need to be. So, but I feel like that's kind of the energy that you've needed. You've needed ambiguous energy. You've needed to kind of open up and allow yourself to kind of go with the flow, even if the flow doesn't really feel finite. And that's okay. That's truly where things start getting funny in life and start getting fun and dreamy and magical. Expect a miracle. This card comes out when I experience miracles. So I mean, this is no joke here, kids. You guys are due for something. And here we are, literally as I'm saying it. We have 9 of Cups, which is emotional fulfillment. We have the Emperor. Oh yeah. We have 7 of Cups, you guys, and the Empress in reverse. Whoa, okie dokie. So starting with the 9 of Cups here, guys, like I said, this is wish fulfillment. This is getting what you have. This is getting what you wanted, and you are satisfied about it. But this is more so the fact that you create this for yourself. Like I said, you've guided yourself and you've changed from being this rigid energy into being more nurturing. Or maybe that's, what you're being guided to do, I feel like. Because the Empress being here in reverse, maybe this energy hasn't been fully embodied yet. Maybe that's kind of your message of self-love is, hey, you can loosen up, but you can allow yourself to be directed in a way that isn't how you've ever been directed before, The Emperor is very firm. He is very structured, and he doesn't necessarily aim to change things from that. And, the Empress is his lovely lady that reminds him, this is creation. This is, but his lovely lady right here, the Empress, reminds him that, creation starts from ambiguity. It starts from nothing. It starts from purely putting your seeds in the ground and giving them love and whatnot. So this just goes to show that, you can build a firm foundation without being a hard ass, without being, unaware of your own feelings and unaware of your own motives and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of things I think are just coming up for you to see that ambiguousness is not the problem for you. Really not. It's not as big of a problem as it may feel for you when you experience it. And that's probably the biggest lesson I think that you're learning right now, and that you've been learning. And I feel like you've seen a lot of things that have created this idea that you have to feel a certain way to make things get done and make things matter and worthwhile. And that's not true. Like, people will respect you and care about what you're doing, even if it's not something super structured and super serious. And I feel like the Emperor energy here is like a good energy for you. It helps you a lot. And the more that you stand in that power with a little bit more like openness, that's where things start appearing for you, and you just get to decide basically what you want. That's the beauty of ambiguity too, is that you have so many options that it's like you don't even know what to do, you don't know how to decide. But maybe, you know, not deciding allows you to have all of the options, all of the best options for you. You know, I've made a video before about asking the universe for this or better, because ultimately, you know, the possibilities are endless. And the Emperor doesn't understand that, you know. I mean, they have a really good energy about them that's like very firm and has been through a lot, and you know, it does have an understanding of possibilities and stuff, but at times you do have to be reminded almost against your own will of, you know, the beauty of not knowing and the beauty of the unknown, and just, you know, blazing through that with a purpose and a cause that isn't really certain to you, but it's there within your heart. It's more about the feeling than it is, you know, what you really think you're doing for you. And I think that that might be a little confusing and hard to grasp, but that's the point. So it's, you know, it's not anything for you to be too ashamed of or too worried about or to be too hard on yourself, because like I said, there's a reward that comes from you loosening up. I guarantee it. There's a part of you that is going to be extremely satisfied. I don't know why I just made like perfect eye contact with this little angel guy, and he looks so happy. So I just feel like you guys have that kind of energy where it's like, oh boy, like I'm about to get everything I wanted, like a child basically, like absolutely thrilled. And you know, it's because you've let your guard down. You've let yourself realize that, like, hey, it's not a big deal for me to be a human, for me to be relaxed, for me to be happy, ultimately, for you to be happy. So group 4, wow, I can't talk. Group 4, I hope this message resonated for you guys. It's pretty plain and simple. You guys absolutely rock, and you are letting that roll for you. So, but if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and of course, subscribe to my channel if you would like more readings from me. I have a Patreon account which starts at $5 a month for extra readings, so check that out if you're interested. But otherwise, I will see you guys in a later video. Bye for now.